All right, welcome to the Coach Mack Show. Coach, last Friday night was a night we probably all like to forget, but we're going to go over it a little bit here on the show and then move on to Senior Spotlight in Irwin County.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Last Friday night we just it was probably everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Looking back at the week, I think I mentioned last week that I thought we were having a pretty good week, but I just don't feel like when we got up there, we lacked focus. The kids lacked focus. Maybe even the coaching staff probably lacked some focus. The kind that takes to get ready for a big ball game. It was no surprise how good Turner was. I knew Turner was good. The last time we've been up there, we got whipped by him. But you know, going up there and just playing the way we did, and them physically dominating us was disappointing. You know, to be quite honest with you, I felt like coming into this year that it was being that we were starting a lot of young kids and our offensive line wasn't real strong and our secondary wasn't real strong and we haven't gotten better each and every week like we have in the past. In the past, each and every week you'd see us just get a lot better. This year, if you watched us play, you haven't seen us get a lot better each and every week. And what come down to is I think we got exposed for probably who we really are, and that's not that good of a football team. You know, this is the worst region loss since 1955 Charlton County's ever had. In 1955, they played some high school that's not even a high school anymore. It's an elementary school, and got beat 55-0. It was an elementary school out of Waycross that used to be a high school. But so I guess we updated a little bit of history there by having the worst region loss since 1955. As far as the bottom line is, we got whipped. We got whipped on the line of scrimmage. We got whipped in everything we tried to do, we couldn't do. Defensively, we held in there a little bit, but I think they out-schemed us and was able to get some things going, and really it could have been worse. In the first half, I felt like that we just kind of held on and was lucky to go in 14-0 down, but the physical toll that they were putting on us, the physical whipping that we were getting, it felt like 14-0. It didn't feel like 14-0. It felt like we were already being blown out at halftime. Statistically, they were playing a defense that if you drew it up, you'd say, hey, you got to run the football. You got to run the football with that defense. And we ran the ball 39 times for 29 yards, which is just awful. Yeah. It's just, I can't imagine. I mean, I would think we'd be able to line up against a college team and get 29 yards, in a game. Passing wise, we threw for a total of 48 yards. Passing wise. Now, yardage wise, we didn't give up a lot of yards to them, but a lot of that goes to the fact our defense and our punting game is so bad that they had such short fields, they didn't have to go a long way to score. They scored 3 rushing touchdowns, they scored 2 passing touchdowns, and those touchdowns, they didn't have to go a long way to do it because our offense was so bad that it was three plays and we punted the ball, and our punting game's so bad that we gave them such a short field. I don't think they ever had to go much more than 40, 50 yards on any one of their drives. But again, we were disappointed. We were disappointed that we didn't display a little bit more toughness, that we couldn't match them being physical at all. So that was really overall a disappointing game. And the thing is about our schedule is this week we got a team coming in I think is better than Turner. I think Turner's a great football team. I think Turner can win the region. I think they could even win the state championship possibly. But they're that athletic. But the thing is I think Irwin can also do the same thing, and I think Clinch can also do the same thing. So it doesn't get a lot easier for us. We still face some people coming up that I think could be actually better than Turner County.
Yeah, they were fast. I mean, from our vantage point up there, every single position just looked fast for them.
Well, the thing about Charlton County football that people, don't realize is that we're not a real athletic football team. You look at our track, back when we were really good in football, we were really good in track. We'd have 30 kids out for track. We'd be winning region championships. We won state championships. Now this year we only had about 3 kids out for track. So you go from then, any school that doesn't have a good track team probably is not going to have a good football team.
Yeah.
We don't have a good track team. So, right now, I felt like all along that we were fortunate to win the 3 that we won. I think we'd be fortunate to win 1 more out of this schedule that we have in front of us. I think this could be our 2nd losing season, in the last 26 years, 27 years, and this could be the first year we haven't made the playoffs in these 26 years. I think it is. We made the playoffs every year, but this could very well be the first year we don't make the playoffs. Simply because we're not a fast team, we're not a physical team. There's nothing we do very well. I mean, we don't throw the ball well, we don't catch the ball well, we don't run well. We play pretty good football up front on defense, but our backside of our defense isn't very good. So, and our special teams is the worst it's ever been since I've been here. Special teams is just right now is just about as bad as it can get. So, right now it's almost feel like we're starting over. Right now we're going to replace. There's going to be a lot of new starters next week. We may even starting to try to go with some younger kids, maybe get them ready for the future. I've even changed up a little bit of coach responsibilities amongst the coaches, which hopefully that'll help also, and see if it'll get us something going. But again, it's going to be a tough road from this point on.
I know going back a little bit into the first half, down 14-0, and I don't know. It seemed like our defense with the turnovers was keeping us in it a little bit. The offense, like you've already said, just couldn't get moving.
Yeah, defensively again, our front was doing good. Now, as far as our secondary, I don't think it's that they so much played well as that we got lucky. We got really lucky that they were overthrowing balls and they weren't connecting with the receivers. I mean, you look at the receivers; they had a 6'3", 190-pound junior. On the other side, they had another 6'1", 200-pound wide receiver. We only have 1 starter, I think, on our entire football team that's over 6 foot. And that might be Justin Mincy. It might be right at 6 foot. And so you look at our football team, we're got a tough combination. We got guys that are short, that are slow, and some of them aren't very strong. So it's a tough combination to be a football player and to be that. So, AJ Bell's, he's a 6'3" kid, but don't carry the body weight that a lot of these other kids. I mean, we're playing against guys this week coming up. For instance, Irwin County has a tight end that's 6'5", 250. That's Division I college. And things like that. And they got defensive linemen that weigh 300 pounds. They got a linebacker that's the best player in the region, Pollard, number 32, who, it will just flat out knock people out. And I know our running backs are looking forward to that, but it gives them another opportunity to drop the football some more. I don't think we fumbled the ball quite enough Friday night. I think we had 6 fumbles. Yeah, 6 fumbles and 1 interception. So I think maybe this week we might be able to equal that or not do better the way these guys hit on defense.
All right, Coach, I wanted to ask you, it seemed like both teams early, or throughout the whole game really, put the ball on the ground a lot. Were the conditions on the field that wet? I know it was a little bit of drizzle before the game.
It really wasn't. I think all of our fumbles came just flat out them being stronger than us. They ripped it right out of our running back's arms. Or they'd hit our running back so hard he just dropped everything he had, dropped his mouthpiece, dropped the football, and the whole bit. I mean, they were just flat out ripping the ball out of our running back's arms, and they were that strong and that physical. They could do that. Now, as far as them, they did drop the ball a couple times. I think we got 3 turnovers, we got an interception and a couple fumbles, but the conditions weren't that bad. You see all the time, we're always practicing in the rain. It rained again today. We're always practicing with wet footballs around here.
It's raining all the time.
It's we've had the most rain we've ever had, so this opportunity we've definitely have played with some wet footballs in practice. So the wet balls really weren't a factor at all. The biggest factor was that they flat out were better than us at every position, and their coaching staff did a much better job than our coaching staff. So there was no question that they should have won, and they did in an impressive way.
All right, Coach. Well, anything else you want to hit on the Turner before we take a break and we'll come back for the second half of the Senior Spotlight?
I think that's it.
All right, Coach. We'll be right back with our second half of the show in the Senior Spotlight, and then we'll get into Irwin County. Welcome back to the Coach Mack Show. Coach, our Senior Spotlight this week is Tyree Gibson, number 84.
Tyree Gibson is just absolutely wonderful, wonderful kid. Tyree has done everything that we've ever asked him to do. He's a small guy. I mean, there's no covering that up. Tyree walks into the room, and he's not a very big guy at all, but he's got a tremendous big heart. Gives us great effort on scout team, and he's actually worked himself into some playing time on special teams. But number 84, Tyree Gibson, he's a three-sport athlete. He's contributed to the wrestling program. He's contributed to the track program. Not only that, he's a leader around the school. He's one of our leaders in FCA. He's one of those kids we've talked about in the past. And one of his best friends is Isaac Gillis, which is pretty wild because Isaac and him are so much alike in a lot of ways. Not only they both are about 5'3", but I mean, other than that, but they both have a tremendous faith. They both are great in the classroom, and they both do just a great job with our football program providing leadership. And they're high character guys, very, very high character guys. We've talked about low maintenance guys. Tyree Gibson is one of those guys. I know his mother and parents have just got to be counting their lucky stars they had a kid like him. But he's really a wonderful kid. He's got opportunity academically to go to college. I know he's talked about that. He's talked about maybe pursuing a career in the military and get his college education that way. But he's a kid that's always thinking ahead to where he's going to do really, really wonderful things with his life. And he's we talk about nobody's perfect, and certainly I don't know anybody that's perfect, but he is, when it comes to being a young man in our school, he's about as close to perfect as I can imagine. And again, I wasn't blessed to have any sons. Maybe it's just as well, but he'd be the kind of guy that'd be really an honor to have as a kid because of just everything he does. He does it to his utmost, and his character is just unreal. So, Tyree Gibson, without a doubt, our Spotlight Player of the Week, most deservingly so. And it's hard to believe he's a senior already. And a lot of these guys, it's hard to believe they're seniors. Time really flies. I mean, I know as a parent, you still have a child in high school, but before you know it, they'll be out. I can still remember my oldest daughter when she started high school, and all of a sudden she's done. So time really flies by very quickly, and time has flown by quickly for these seniors. And for a guy like Tyree, it's flown by too fast because I really enjoy being around him. He's just one of those guys that as a coach or even as another person, you seek him out because he's just such a pleasure to be around. So really love the guy and going to miss him, but he's going to do great things. And I know that he's made us better just by being a part of our program, and I hope that we maybe have helped him along the way also. But Tyree Gibson, without a doubt, deserving spotlight, senior spotlight this week.
Yeah. I know Tyrese, I've known him for years. I've always thought of him as being younger. He looks younger to me, and we were talking about it before the show. I had no idea he was a senior until just now.
Yeah. I mean, Tyrese, it's just think a year from now he'll be in college and he'll probably look like he does now. And so, but anyway, he's a wonderful kid, and going to miss him just being around him. And again, you may not see Tyree on the field, a lot, but what he brings to this football team is more than what you see on the field. He's without a doubt a solid person, and we're just very lucky to have him on our football team.
All right, Tyree Gibson, number 84, you're our senior spotlight this week. Congratulations, young man. All right, moving on, Coach. Irwin County, huge region game this Friday, right here in the swamp. They had a squeaker from what I understand the other night. Telfair almost got a hold of them. I think Irwin finally came out on top 28-21, I think.
Yeah, you know, first of all, talking about Telfair, we know that Telfair is a good football team. We struggled with them last year. Last year we were a pretty good football team, and we went up to Telfair and had really a tough time with them. So anytime somebody plays Telfair and it's a close game, that's not surprising. Telfair is good enough to beat everybody they play, and they're good enough to play close without a doubt. Yeah. To teams like Irwin. Irwin was my pick. Irwin and Clinch was my pick to start the year off to have a chance to win this thing, single A in the state of Georgia. And I still believe Irwin's one of those teams. And even though Clinch has suffered some injuries, I still think Clinch has a chance to be one of those teams also. But Irwin County, I don't know if it was one of those things where they might have been looking ahead a little bit. That can happen, especially this age of kid. It's who knows what was going on in our kids' mind last Friday night. I mean, before the game, it feels like I had to refocus them, and I had to, almost convince them that, hey, you know what, we are playing a football game, and if we don't get focused, something bad could happen. And obviously something bad did happen, and obviously we weren't focused. But Irwin County may have had the same thing going on with them. And I think talking to their coach, Buddy Noble, which is just an incredible guy, talking about incredible people. He's one of those incredible people. But Coach Buddy Noble, and talking to him, I kind of got the feeling that maybe they weren't as focused as they should have been. But like I told Coach, I said one of the signs of a great football team is you can go into a game, not have your best stuff, and still come out on top. And that's what he did. And that's a real credit to him and his coaching staff and his players to possibly go into a game not focused and not really where you want to be, but yet come out on top like Irwin did. Irwin, first thing you notice about Irwin County is number one, they're so well coached. And we talked about Coach Buddy Noble. I've known him for a long time. He's one of those guys. First of all, if you had a son, you say go pick a coach you want your kid to play for, I'd pick Buddy Noble. He's one of those kind of people. He's got tremendous character, tremendous faith, and he's just one of those people that I would love for my kid to play for. And one day when I get done doing this, I might be knocking on his door just so I could be one of his assistants one day. But he's that kind of person that you just really enjoy being around. You can tell when you watch him play, any situation they're in, they're prepared for. And that's a real credit to him and his coaching staff. They run the wing tee. They run it as well or better than anybody you're going to face. They'll have an answer for anything you do defensively. So that's one thing that's tough about preparing for them. No matter what you line up in defensively, they're going to counter it with something that's going to work against whatever it is you're doing. And that's something about the way they run their offense. Defensively very strong. Up front, big, fast, all the good things you want in a player, big, fast, and they appear to be very, very smart players. Very smart players. And they probably have the best football player in our region on their team, and that's Pollard, number 32. He is an incredible football player. He's a guy that he can carry a team on his shoulders. He's a guy that plays inside linebacker. He's the best guy on defense, without a doubt. I think he's one of our region's defensive players of the year last year, and that he also, when he's at fullback, he's really the guy that keeps the thing going on offense. He's a fabulous football player. And from what I know about and Coach Noble talking about him, he's really an awesome kid, which is great to see. Great to see great players be also great people. And this kid is one of those. It seems like every time we play Irwin, we learn more about ourselves. We learned a lot about ourselves last week at Turner County. I think we're going to find out some more about ourselves this week. They're a much better football team than we are. You break down position by position, and they're better than our. I mean, there's probably we only have two players that can possibly play for them, and that would probably be Toby Dasher and maybe number 55, Tion Burrows. Those two guys can maybe play for Irwin, but I don't know if anybody else could. They have a big roster. Of course, they have a lot of interest over there. Went to the Dome last year. They're a nice-sized school, and over the years, I've had opportunities to go over there, and I've been over there to meetings before during the day. And I've always been really impressed with their student body and their administration, the way they run their school. And I think all that just carries over right onto the football field and other sports. I mean, they're strong really in every sport you look at over there, and they've been that way for years. So Irwin County, Ocilla, Georgia, I think is a special place. They do a good job. They have a lot of support for their school, all sports, football. And you know, they've lost one game. They lost it to Fitzgerald. Now, Fitzgerald's the number 2 ranked team in AA. I think Fitzgerald's probably one of the 5 top teams in the entire state of Georgia, any classification. And that game was a war, and that game for a long time could have went either way. So I think Irwin is that good. I think Irwin could be a team. I'll be shocked if Irwin doesn't make another trip to the Dome and represents our region and even has a chance this year to win it. I think they had a chance last year, didn't work out, but I think they got another chance this year. And of course, it all really starts, I'll tell you what really got that thing going over there is when they hired Coach Noble. You know, when they hired Coach Buddy Noble, that was one of the smartest things Irwin County's ever done right there. He does an awesome job.
Yeah. And Coach, these contests between Charlton and Irwin, they've really decided their region the last two or 3 years. I mean, they've been big games.
It's been big games. Like I think the last couple of years we finished 3rd in the region, sometimes 2nd. Irwin has won it, or Clinch has won it. We haven't won a region title since 2009. So it's been a while since we've been on top, and it don't look like we'll be there anytime soon. But Irwin County's a team that they already beat Clinch, and then I think them and Turner is going to be a great football game. A lot of speed and so forth. On that, and a lot of ability, a lot of skill, a lot of good coaching going on. And I think Clinch County still might have something to say about this at the end because Clinch and Turner still have to play. So that thing could really get mixed up in there depending on how this thing finishes up between those 3 teams. But your top 3 teams are going to be, you know, Irwin, Turner, and Clinch. Those 3 right there are going to be your top 3 without a doubt. And all 3 of those teams, I think, have a chance to play for a state title. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing finishes out amongst those guys.
All right, Coach. This Friday we need everybody in town up here. They can watch the replay later, and you know, our sponsors will totally understand. Let's pack the place, Coach. B-team action and Braves. Braves are tomorrow.
Yep, the Braves are tomorrow, and I believe they're right here in the swamp, and they've been having a pretty good year. I think they've only really had one big setback, one loss, and other than that, they've been doing really good. They play some good competition, and I think that what you're going to see is hopefully we have a good crowd out here, and we've got 3 home games this week, and so hopefully we'll get a big crowd out here all week long, and starting with the Braves tomorrow, I believe it is tomorrow, and then also our B team will be here versus West Nassau. Last year we went down to West Nassau and they physically whipped us pretty good. This year they come here. I don't know how it's going to go. I know last week we got whipped pretty good on B team, and we're having to play a lot of younger kids up on varsity right now. Plus we've got some kids banged up, so I'm not sure how our roster is going to shape up against West Nassau. It may be kind of tough. If the Maidens are playing softball over here Thursday, I'd recommend you go to that probably instead of come watching the B team play. But again, we have football here all week. Hopefully, we have people come out and support the kids and see what's going on.
All right, Coach. Friday night's also rec night here for the Indians. Yep. I saw the guys when we were pulling up tonight. Rec action over there. This high, but it's always fun to see those guys, and they feed right in. Feed right up to the Indians.
That's right. The rec program is really important for building your entire program, because those kids are going to turn around and step next off the rec program into your junior high program, and then from there on into your varsity program. I remember the first time I saw Champ Bailey play. It was in rec league out here, and you knew he was pretty special back then. He was a guy that nobody could catch. You knew he was going to be a good player, and there's been other players on our roster that have come up through the rec program and went on through through high school, and even have some had a chance to play on. So yeah, it's always one of my favorite nights is to have the rec kids on the field with us, the kids and the coaches, having them out there and having them run through the run-through sign with us and that sort of thing. It's a lot of fun. So really appreciate that. And also, don't want to forget the rec cheerleaders. They have probably more fun or as much fun as the football players out there. So
it's going to be your third generation coming up now, right?
That's right. Probably will be. I mean, I've already coached a lot of second generation kids. I've got second generation kids in this locker room right now. And what's good about it is if I'm hard on them, they go home and complain to their dads, and their dad tells them all the time how much I've softened and everything. You don't know how bad it could be. It used to be. So anyway, they
if you don't mind me asking, how many coaches from the time you've started were your players or now your coaches? You follow what I'm trying to?
Well, right now on our current staff, we have Coach Woods, Norris Woods, my defensive coordinator. We have David Pender, who is our defensive back coach. I don't want to draw a blank here, miss anybody, but Russ Murray was a former player. Russ Murray's our assistant head coach, offensive line coach, and Russ Murray was one of my former players. Thomas Brooks was a student, didn't play football, but was in other sports while he was here. So yeah, I do have some former players that are coaching on our staff, but I also have former players coaching other places. Antoine Harvey's coaching over at Valdosta right now in that program. J.D. Carter, former player of mine, is coaching at Dodge County right now. Former player Joe Hagan is coaching up in Canada as we speak. He's coached college and he's coached professional up there, and right now I think he's coaching at a small college up in Canada. So we've had, and I'm sure I'm missing some and so forth, but we have had some kids come from this program and went on into coaching. And like I said, having them on my staff, the thing about guys like Coach Woods and Coach Pender, and Coach Murray. Well, Coach Murray was on teams. When I first got here, he was a senior. I was an assistant coach, and he was a senior, so I only got to coach him for 1 year. But I coached his brothers, so was able to stay in touch with him and his family. Coach Woods and Coach Murray, he played through some tough times here, some 2-8 teams and so forth, and so he remembers how it was. So he's really motivated to make sure it doesn't go back to that. Coach Pender, and Coach Pender and Coach Woods, they played on state championship teams. So they've seen Charlton County football at its best, and they were part of it. And they're motivated to try to get it back up to that and even keep it there. So that's always good to have guys like that on your staff, that they understand me, they understand the way we do things, and they understand the history. A lot of times the kids who don't understand the history of Charlton County football are your current players. Your current players, you tell them, well, back in 2005 when we won a state championship 10 years ago, well, a lot of these guys were 5, 6, and 7. It didn't mean anything to them. They can't relate to what happened back in 2005 or when Coach Woods played on the '99 state championship team. It's an incredible football team we had back then, and these guys can't relate to how those guys were because it was so long ago. Even though we try to explain it to them, we'll even show them old films sometimes. But again, especially these kids, they're caught up in the moment and they're caught up on whatever, Snapchat's telling them at the current second or what's going on their phones. They a lot of them don't understand the tradition. We have some of the tradition up on the wall behind us, state championships and so forth. But again, they've got to find out for themselves. They've got to take the lumps like they took last week, and they've got to make up their mind. Are we going to pick up our game? Are we going to settle for just getting beat continually throughout this year and finish the year possibly 3 and 6 or 5 and 4 or 4 and 5 or whatever, and have a losing season? How does it make you feel knowing that you may be the first team since 1989 not to go to the playoffs at Charlton County? Is that something that concerns them? I don't know if it does. I know it does me because I've been able to be a part of all those teams that had all that success, and I'm not ready to see it end. Back few years ago, we had our first losing season. It was 5 and 6. I went a whole year without sleeping after that. It just made me crazy. The idea that we put a losing football team on the field was just incredibly unsuccessful, but we did turn around the following year and play for a state title, which I was proud of that bounce back. This year, right now it's still wide open. Yeah, we have Irwin County. They're a better football team than us. Clinch County's probably a better football team. Telfair's probably a better football team than us. Wilcox, maybe. I don't know. So will this thing end up with only 3 wins? I don't know. It very well could, but we hope not. And we had a good day today. We practiced hard. We went out and we hit some and tried to get a little tougher. We tried to do some things different than we've done before. And we had a good coaches meeting last night and kind of got some things out in the open about things that need to change and things we've got to do better. So hopefully maybe Friday night it'll show up. It may not show up in a victory, but maybe it'll show up in us just being a better Indian football team than we were last week.
All right, Coach. Well, let's pack the place out Friday. Well, all week long. Braves tomorrow, Bteam Thursday, then the big game Friday night. Let's sell it out. We need everybody out there to make a lot of noise. I know we had a pretty good crowd travel. We had people from Tennessee and Florida at that game at Ashburn. Y'all can come to Folkston too. Come to Folkston and let's make some noise.
Yep, I'd like to apologize to all those folks that made that long trip to Ashburn to watch us play, and it wasn't very enjoyable for you. I know that. It wasn't enjoyable for any of us, but hopefully we will have a big crowd here this Friday.
Definitely. All right, Coach, thank you as always. We'll see y'all, hopefully we'll see y'all tomorrow night and all the way through the week. Have a great evening.